All right, guys, time for Youth Watch Tuesday on a Wednesday. You guys know how it is. You guys know what it's about. We're keeping an eye on these rookies and sophomores on the team, trying to get an idea of where we are headed based on the progress of our young players. So, Monday night was pretty good for most of them. I think we saw a lot of positive things. I mean, there were a couple guys on this team who were very young who really stood out in this game, and I don't even really need to tell you guys who they were because they were so obvious, but there were some other guys as well doing their thing. So let's start with the running backs here. Um, Ken Walker, he had a relatively productive game. It took a while for him to get going, but he busted off a couple of big runs to supplement his per carry average to offset some of the plays that went nowhere. And through 4 games, he is on pace for a 1,400-yard season. He's getting in the end zone with a lot of regularity. I don't know when he's going to lose those goal line carries and short yardage carries to Charbonnet, but for right now, it seems like we trust him more. He's gotten several short yardage touchdowns already this year. And this last game took his PFF grade up to 78.7. He wasn't as much of a presence in the passing game this week. He didn't catch a pass. I don't think he was targeted. And there was also the sack that Curhan gave up on our first drive, where Walker was probably supposed to help, and he just, I don't know what he was doing there. So, not the best game for him from a pass protection perspective, but from a running the ball perspective, he definitely did his job. He's running behind a bunch of backup offensive linemen going into Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams, so you take what you can get. Zach Charbonnet, productive day. He didn't play nearly as much as he did the previous week, but he played pretty good. He actually caught our first successful screen pass in like 8 years or something like that. So 9-yard pickup there. He ran the ball well. Had a one really nice carry on that third quarter drive. So he's up to 126 yards on the year, putting him directly on pace to have like 500 yards from scrimmage, which I think a lot of people would use as a barometer to measure whether or not the pick is successful. If you can get to 500 yards from scrimmage on, call it 100 touches, people are going to say, yeah, that's a successful rookie year for Charbonnet. 75.8 PFF grade, so his grade keeps going up, and we've got one of the best backfields in football. I still don't think it's as good as what they got cooking in Atlanta right now, but they are in contention against pretty much anybody else right now. Okay, so now we go to wide receivers. A lot less to talk about here because JSN once again was very quiet. 3 catches for 5 yards. We got to get him the ball a little more down the field, but at the same time, he also needs to not drop passes. He had an opportunity to make a catch when Drew Lock was in. It wasn't a perfect throw, but you can catch that. That's a ball that JSN should catch, I think. So PFF grade is not good right now. It's 50.3. Jake Bobo did not make a catch, but his run blocking continues to be good. His PFF grade is at 65.9 right now. Pretty good. He's doing his thing. He's not making catches every game, but clearly doing his thing, doing his job, doing what he needs to do. Okay, offensive line is pretty barren here because Cross and Lucas are still not playing, but we got good reps out of Oluwatimi. No pressures allowed, no penalties so far this season. Pretty good game. Run blocking is just okay, but his pass blocking is very solid so far this year. His overall grade is up to about a 57, which for a 5th-round rookie, I'm going to be happy with. He's doing his thing. Being forced into a situation that I don't think he was going to be I didn't think he was going to be ready for. Remember, this guy missed a little bit of the offseason too with an injury. So Oluwatimi being this effective this early is something I'm going to be pretty happy about. Anthony Bradford was the only other young offensive lineman who played. He did have 2 penalties and he did allow 3 pressures, so his grade went down. But I don't think he was bad. I thought he was effective. I thought he was fine. Generally speaking, I think that he did his job. I know the grades don't reflect it. I know he made some significant mistakes in this game. I'm not saying he played great, but you guys got to understand, Bradford was a guy who barely played in college, and now he's getting thrown in at the NFL level, and he's holding his own. He's doing some really good things out there. He's throwing these pancake blocks. He's not getting beat by every single pass rusher he deals with. He's doing his job. So I continue to be impressed with Anthony Bradford. That takes us over to the defense now. Mike Morris, obviously out for the year, but Cam Young continues to do things. He picked up a couple tackles last night. His PFF grade is approaching 70. So it's early. He's young, and he's probably going to wear down a little bit as the season goes on because that's what happens to these younger, somewhat smaller players in the trenches, I think. But Cam Young is playing better than I expected. Remember, this is another guy, missed a lot of off-season time. So I'm not saying he's going to necessarily be able to keep this up the whole season, but he's not playing that much, so he might be rotational the rest of the year. We might have a little something here, which we need. We need it very badly. We are very thin on this defensive line. I'd like us to do something about it, but in the meantime, we can mitigate the effect by having Cam Young play as well as he is. So, great stuff there. I'm really happy about that. Linebacker Drake Thomas, I think he got, what was it, one snap in that game on defense, and then otherwise he's just playing special teams, not really standing out there in any real way, just kind of grinding, which is fine. Edge rusher, we had a little bit of fun here. Ooh, I'm sorry, looks like a little bit of a typographical error there. There we go. So, Boye Mafe had a good game. He had a few tackles. He had a sack. He had other QB pressures as well, as I talked about in my video yesterday. PFF grade stayed steady at 75.6. He is massively improved over last year, man. It is so good to see him playing like this. He's never going to be like TJ Watt level, I'm sure, but he can be a very good player in this league. He can broach that double-digit sack territory. He can be a really good pass rusher while being a really good run defender as well. He had the one play in this game where he kind of slipped and lost contain on Daniel Jones. But other than that, I thought he played a really good game, and I'm really excited to see him develop just the way I was hoping when we drafted him. Derek Hall had a couple of tackles. He had several hits on Daniel Jones, several pressures, no sacks, but he's making a big impact. He caused the interception by Diggs, by and large, by hitting Jones as he threw the ball. PFF grade up to 63.8. He doesn't look like a big liability out there right now. So, Daryl Taylor, he's coming for your snaps, man. I hope you're aware of that. I hope you know what's going on here. Hope you know where you're at. Derek Hall's coming for your snaps. He doesn't look like a liability against the run, and now he's starting to get in on the QB hunting. So, Derek Hall, I didn't think he was going to be a big-time player for us this year, but he's earning some extra reps with Daryl Taylor struggling right now. And Tyreek Smith on the practice squad did not play. Cornerbacks. We had some fun this week. Tariq Woolen, handful of tackles, had the pass deflection, or PBU, where he maybe could have picked it off, but the receiver kind of nicked it away at the last second. So he gets his first PBU of the year. PFF grade dropped a tiny bit down to 68.5 because of the short completions he gives up, which that's scheme. That's not player. So I don't really agree with Woolen getting knocked for that. Like, it's not his fault if he's being asked to play 5 yards off and backpedal, and then he gives up a 6-yard completion. That's the plan. So, not a big fan of PFF not recognizing that, but whatever. He still played a pretty good game, still having a pretty good season. It's not as splashy as we were hoping so far, but to a certain extent, it's because this guy is stealing his thunder. Devon Witherspoon, I mean, my God. I wasn't expecting this at all, especially when he missed most of the offseason. This Devon Witherspoon guy missed so much offseason work, and he's blowing up running plays. He's tackling beautifully. He's coming up in run support and plays when he shouldn't even really be involved. Most cornerbacks wouldn't even get within 5 yards of the ball carrier. And he's coming up with the game-changing interception, taking it back. He's given up a couple completions here and there, again, because of the scheme. I'm not tripping on that, and none of you guys should either. PFF grade up to 80, even though he's given up 2 touchdowns so far this year. Maybe the one against Carolina wasn't on his head. I don't know. Some people were saying it should have been Teez Tabor's responsibility. Could be. But either way, he's gotten beat, on a flea flicker He's gotten 2 penalties in coverage so far this year, and yet his grade is all the way up here. We are dealing with something very special here. I think people are starting to figure it out. Kobe Bryant did not play. Q Kelly did not play. Jarek Reed continues to grind on special teams. He's up to 6 tackles this year. Played a little on defense in this game as well because of garbage time. His special teams PFF grade is 85.5. This is a special teams ace we are dealing with right now. There's going to come a day when Nick Bellore hangs it up and can't do it anymore. And if Jarek Reed becomes the new special teams ace when Bellore moves on, I'm feeling pretty good about that. So that is your rundown of the young players on this team. Walker's killing it. The backup offensive linemen are holding their own. Cam Young is impressing. Boye Mafe and Derek Hall are starting to really show who they are in a positive way. Witherspoon's the big star. I mean, there's a lot of positive stuff going on here, guys. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks.